Yo, we live, y'all. What's going on, man? You already know it's Mr. Hood Love, Mikey B. Today I got Joey P. Langston in the building with me from Official Prison Talk. We got Free J. Burton from Official Prison Talk, and we got a special guest, right? Live from California. Monster Yo is in the building. Y'all brothers, introduce yourselves. Let the people know where y'all from. Let the people know a little about yourselves, man.
Well, peace, king and queens that's watching this live. This is how we do it. Like Mikey B just said, it's your boy hashtag Free J Burton. I've been incarcerated for the past 36 years. I'm a I'm a blood from out of Watts, California. I'm also an activist. I'm also an author of several books. And we're gonna get more into my story, but I want to pass the mic to my boy Monster Yo because this is a special time for people to see how Bloods and Crips do it over here on the West Coast in these prisons.
Man, appreciate you, bro, in a real way. So I'm Monster Yo from Long Beach, California. I'm a Keyway, also an activist. Been incarcerated 30. Out of my 30 years, I spent 17 years in solitary confinement. I'm a published author of 15 books.
Whoa.
Um, Absolutely. I'm a hip hop artist, have done songs with Snoop, Cocaine, Glasses Malone, Sean Kingston, Exhibit, and all those top names.
God
Um,
is good. That's right.
have my own record label, have my own. I'm a manager to both artists and boxers. Um, I have my own business, Skrilla Gorilla West, that I push to the fullest. We're an artist development and business development company that provides a array of resources that help businesses and artists reach the top. You know, um, my titles are limitless. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
And
yo, man, yo, that's
yeah,
great. Man. That's a blessing.
I
Yo, listen,
appreciate it.
we up here with four published authors that started writing in prison. I started my companies in prison like y'all did. I started writing my books and publishing like y'all did from prison. I know Joey P did as well. So that's a thing in itself. You know what I'm saying? We changing the narrative. We definitely changing the culture on this side. You know what I mean? It's great to have y'all brothers in here. Y'all can tell us about y'all journey. Whichever one of y'all brothers want to go first. Y'all can start, and tell us a little bit more about yourself and how y'all came to prison and how that all went down.
I'll let Monster pick it up from there because I've been up here on your platform several times, but I want to really let people get a feeling of my boy Monster Yo. Like people gonna understand, like, damn, this you got a Gambu and a Keyway who's been on these prison yards together, been in solitary confinement together. We've been so many places together. Actually, grew up together in prison. So I'm gonna let Monster take because this is his time to shine right now for the East Coast. Even though he got people on the East Coast, but I'm talking about on this platform right here.
Right,
Man,
that's right.
first off, again, I appreciate you, Brody. I think that we should actually go back and forth on this one because the story that we have is amazing. The world would not believe how we end up joining together. But I will start like this: that you know, I grew up in Long Beach, California. I was a savage from where I was from. And just like every young individual who was impressionable, who wanted to make a name for themselves, I was one of those individuals who was a frontliner. Um, I ended up committing crimes that got me where I'm at today. I ended up starting a war in Long Beach, one of the biggest wars in Long Beach against myself and a rival gang. And every day I regret it because to see this next generation and how they're falling on both sides, it's
Right,
ridiculous.
right,
It's ridiculous. This generational curse that I passed on to these generations, it's heartbreaking because when you get older, you're no longer that same individual that started that war.
right.
So at age 16, when I committed those crimes, it was more so, you don't know who I am. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to touch my home girls or, I'm going to protect my neighborhood. But as I get older, I start to realize that there was other ways of going about the situation. I shouldn't even been in that situation in the first place. But what I did created a ripple effect. And for that, what has happened is that again, I started a generational curse that breaks my heart every day of my life now. And so that's a reality that I live with. I ended up coming to prison. Well, excuse me, I ended up coming to juvenile hall first and was found unfit in juvenile court. And they sent me to adult court and had me in the juvenile module. In the juvenile module, we were beasts. You know what I'm saying? We were so much beast that they ended up kicking us out to juvenile module and giving us our own pod because we were terrorizing the keyways up in there, you know, which was unfortunate, you know. But from there, I ended up getting 4 life sentences plus 74 years.
Wow.
And when they gave me that time, you know, the crazy thing about it is I know how heavy that sounds now. But back then, when you're a kid, it means nothing. It's kind of like you watching Bugs Bunny, you know, or Elmer Fudd, and he shoots the gun and the gun backfires, but he's still alive. Or Bugs Bunny hits Yosemite Sam with an anvil, and all he gets is a knot on his head. You don't really look at it as something real and tangible. It's just another way of life. You know, unfortunately, when they throw us in prison at a young age, we are forced to grow up in here or be broken in here.
Right.
It's just you have two options. You grow up or you're broken. You're either a champion or you're somebody's bitch. It's just that serious. It's that simple. You know what I'm saying? And we chose to be hogs. Every last one of us on this platform, we came into the system and said, you know what? You're going to know who we are. And unfortunately, it took us going through that journey in order to reach this level of understanding and appreciation for life and for liberty. You know what I'm saying? And so go ahead.
No, it's true. I'm listening, bro. You can keep going.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, you know, I went through the struggles. You know, the first year, when I first hit them yards, you had a lot of homosexuals on the yard. You had booty bandits on the yard, and they were raping youngsters and trying youngsters. And so, you know, there was predators and
so let me ask
you know,
let me just get some clarity. They were just trying youngsters that were in the gang culture, or like, you know, just neutral kids, or I don't know. Give us a picture of the culture, because
I'm definitely gonna give it.
Like,
I'll definitely do that.
Right.
So when it came to the homosexuals, they targeted everybody. They just wanted to switch anybody to whatever. You know what I'm saying? And it was disappointing. It's still disappointing to now see a lot of the elders that were on those yards at that time and how they engaged with them. You know, when it came to the booty bandits were a different type of animal. They preyed on the tough. They preyed on individuals that they would give them a fight. You know what I'm saying? And so what they would do is they would look for tough youngsters. They'll bring those youngsters. Yeah, they'll bring those youngsters into their cell. Then what they would do is they'll get them drunk. Then all of a sudden choke them out or tie them up. Or while they're getting them drunk, they'll put medication in the drink. So then they'll pass out. And next thing you know, things will happen to them. Or they'll act like they're showing them how to tie up people and stuff like that. And all of a sudden they can't use their hands. And you remember that, you know, and so we as youngsters had to make sure we were not put in that situation. I'm reminded of a time when there was a booty bandit that wanted a youngster. He was 19, I was 17. And even though the young king was a warrior and I knew he would fight, I knew he was going to get raped. So I decided to move up in there. When I moved up in there, I looked different. I had no facial hair, you know what I'm saying, in shape, you know, young. When I move up in there, the first thing he says is, "Oh, you got pretty eyes." I said, "All right." Then he goes on and to proceed to tell me that every 7 days he has to relieve himself, saying that every 7 days he's going to be raping me. I said,
He told
no
you that?
less. Yeah. And so no less than 30 minutes later, he was dead. And I'm going to tell you how God works. And I'm not condoning what I did. I'm not. But I'm going to tell you how God works.
Wow.
The way my history is extensive of being a warrior in here, his history was extensive of raping his cellies.
Wow.
And so when we go to court, remember, I was 17. He was 30 something raping people. I shouldn't have been in that situation in the first place. My case was thrown out.
Oh, wow.
Now, because of me, every youngster that comes to prison, they have to sit into a building with other juveniles until they turn 18, and then they can transition into the general population with other adults.
You had a wild lawsuit. You had a major lawsuit.
Yeah, but I was dumb. You got to realize that they made sure they kept us dumb. You see, they put this psychology in our heads that we have to be too tough to file a lawsuit. You're too tough to file a lawsuit. You file a lawsuit, you a snitch, you this, you that. And in my mind, I was really with the politics back then. So I'm just too tough. And at the time, my mentality is I'm just being a warrior and I'm leading by example. I didn't have that knowledge of self at that time. Then my life began to progress. And I found myself engaging in a lot of other situations, from prison riots to being a warrior against the officials. That just became a whole nother progression of going downhill. When you fight a CO, just so you guys know, it doesn't end there. What happens is that the minute you get into it with a CO, you go down a gauntlet.
That's a fact.
And they will torture you. You'll go through the psychological torture,
right.
Yes, sir. R.I.P.
Right,
you will go through a litany of torture and harassment, the likes that you've never experienced before. And you have to be mentally sound and understand that you're stronger than the circumstance, because they're going to humiliate you, and they're going to humiliate you more than once. And so I have all my paperwork to show it. All my staff assaults. I have 13 staff assaults. And again, I don't, this is not a brag, but I had to be a warrior back then in order to set a tone. They were trying to break us youngsters back then. They were beating us in handcuffs. They were spitting in our food. They used to have a thing called a single cell sandwich. So if you get into it with a staff, what they'll do is they'll ejaculate on a bread. When they ejaculate on the bread, they'll give you your bread and your meal and wait for you to eat it. Then when they'll come back, they say, how you like your single cell sandwich? Stuff like that was humiliating. And you had to be strong enough not to react at certain moments. You had to be methodical in how you dealt with those situations. But they were sick. They were sick. They were their own gang.
Yo, big homie,
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you a question. And this is mainly for the youth out there, because I know about you very well and you're a strong individual. But how was you able to maintain your sanity after enduring 30 years of incarceration? How are you able to be motivated? And what would you tell these little kids about the time that you've done and why you don't wish this on them?
Okay, that's a great question. How I was able to stay motivated is because of the earth angels around me, meeting people like Jay Burton, meeting other brothers around me who taught me this knowledge of self. They reminded me of what I was capable of and that I'm stronger than my situation. I started reading books. I started writing. I started meditating. I started even being well with myself, to have speeches in the mirror, talking to myself in the mirror as if I'm talking to an audience, because there was a time that I was so shy that I couldn't talk to people. My words weren't loquacious back then. You know what I'm saying? So I would always stutter and have the filler words and everything else. I got educated. I have a degree in psychology, which I graduated cum laude. I have a degree in communication, liberal arts. I have a doctorate in theology. You know what I'm saying? And I continue to progress. I had to keep my mind active. You can't let your mind start to become lethargic, because what's going to happen is it's going to allow the devil to work. As they say, an idle mind is a devil's workshop. And so I kept my mind busy. I read thousands of books. I understood the books that I was reading. Then I started to apply those books. I started to say, okay, well, I'm in this environment. How do I get free? Okay, I'm in this environment. How can I create a business? I'm in this environment. How can I think outside of this box? And that's what I started to do. But that was how I was able to maintain my sanity. But I'm going to tell you guys this. When it comes to the youth, the reason why this is not a place to be is because it's a joke. It's not what you think. Everything that y'all doing out there, it's a joke. It's a delusion. The reality is once you come into prison, that same individual that's your so-called enemy becomes your brother,
Right?
Becomes your ally, because you're going to run across that yard.
And explain that to us, because me being in New York and doing my time in New York, Joey P, he did his time in Ohio and other states in the Midwest. Our culture is different from y'all. Explain that to us. Give us some insight into that.
Can I say
Okay,
something
so
before we go there?
absolutely.
First, you got to understand that, you know, me and Monster, people like me and Monster, we came at a young age because I had a strong
Mute yourself,
neighborhood,
please.
ruthless
Hey,
neighborhood.
the rappers.
That's Monster. So look, so I want people to understand that over here in California, when you come, because I had a strong, ruthless neighborhood, I wasn't one of them young ones that was being raped. I was actually one of the ones that could use my neighborhood to protect the vulnerable because they're not going to do nothing to me because they know my homies is going to protect everything I got going on. So I was able to protect some of the youngsters that was being raped. But I want to say something because you mentioned something about you know, the difference between the East Coast, Midwest. First, people must understand is that Monster was a monster. The staff hated him. I also did 4 years because the staff was one of the CEOs was stabbed in the face. So I did 4 years in the shoe. So I went through hell. But I want to, when I got validated, they put me next door to Monster. And Monster, they thing was they wanted to turn me and Monster against each other. And they almost did. So I'm gonna let Monster take it from
How
there.
old were y'all at the time when y'all met? How old was
That was 2007, around 2008. We can't hear you, Monster.
You muted, Monster. Unmute.
You muted.
Oh snap!
We about 2008, 9, somewhere around there.
There we go. Yeah, that was 2007. I was still in my 20s, and yeah, they definitely tried to. And what happened was is that, you know, like he said, they almost succeeded. You know, the thing about it is that they will use tactics to make you believe that another individual is somebody to not be trustworthy. And so they immediately, when um, they immediately snatched him up and then hit my cell. So when they hit my cell, the first thing I'm thinking is what the heck just happened? You know, and he was going through a process. And so it made me for a moment think something. And come to find out, they were manipulating the process because they understood that two strong individuals put together could conquer, could change an environment. And by them putting that thought in my head, it could have contaminated our future because the way that they did it, I'm telling you, it was so strategic, you know. And so fortunately, when everything came out of the wash, it come to find out they actually planned that, you know. But that's how it was, though. They use our politics against us.
Right.
And I want to also say this as well. Where I'm from, you know what I'm saying? People usually protect us as well. But when you're inside, when you're already in the hole, your homies don't matter. And a lot of these booty bandits back in the day were in the hole, and they utilized the booty bandits as behavior management for other people, for the youngsters, because we were the disrespectful kids to the staff. So the staff. So I'll give you an example. During the process of this man dying, I remember him running towards the door while I'm on his back, and he's hitting the door. And I remember the staff pointing at the door, laughing because they're thinking I'm getting raped. Lo and behold, he's dying.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And so I was a disrespectful youngster, though, you know, and I remember seeing that glance and, you know, seeing that look and seeing them point and laughing. And I remember telling myself, he is not going to be released from this grip. And he wasn't. You know, but real talk. You know what I'm saying?
You know, I know what's going on, Monster.
Hey, listen here. You wait for to get these cheeks, bro. You're straight up. And so
the sad part is that's the truth. It's either you're gonna hunt or you're gonna be prey.
absolutely. But I'm going to tell you this. After I did what I did, it put the fear of God and a lot of the booty bandits, because now the youngsters had an uprise and we were all on the same page. So we wouldn't let them come to the yard. There was a famous booty bandit that came to the yard, and both Kiwi and Damu came out there, and we did our thing. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, and he's I hate to say he's a Damu, but he's not a Damu no more. But
right,
yeah, with his sick ass.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that's what it was like. That's what it was.
This is real live, y'all.
So that's my boy Masio. That's why I had to bring him up, because he has some very powerful stories, some things that, you know, a lot of people don't really get the chance to see. People actually talk about the real things that goes on behind these prison walls. The vulnerable was always preyed. They was preyed upon. And if my key thing was this, I was taught when I first came to prison, don't let nobody get away with nothing. You play for keeps. And that's what I was taught. And my whole thing is I was really like on some active gangbang thing. I wanted to let everything about me, I wanted my name to ring. But when I came to prison, I realized that Blood and Crip, you wasn't about to let your name ring on no Blood and Crip stuff. And
what do you mean by that?
Back in the days when Old Folsom was a maximum security.
Hey, big homie, big bro, what do you mean by that? Can you elaborate on? Because I want people. A lot of people over here don't understand when you use these terminologies, because over here, Bloods and Crips, they fight each other in prison.
Right.
So can you elaborate on how y'all relationships is out there when it comes to Bloods and Crips, blacks and shit like that?
Well, yeah, and explain to us also, just to to add on to what he said. Explain to us, like, when you come into the county, when you come into the prison system, as a black man, we all black people here. This is a primary all black or Spanish. How does it go? If you're neutral, or if you're part of a set, or if you're not, let us know how that goes, how that is over there.
Well,
how about this?
Yeah,
how about this? Let me hit the part with the county jail, and then you do the prison part.
All right.
Perfect.
Okay, so in the county jail, it's everything that y'all talking about. It's set tripping, it's gang banging, it's everything. So we squabbling up, we going toe to toe, we taking every fade. If you're a real individual, you're gonna get that fade. You know what I'm saying? If you got a name up in there on the streets and you come up in the county jail, somebody gonna want to see you. No matter who you is, no matter how old you are, you're gonna get your fades. That's how it is. But it's still unity though. This is the crazy thing, because we all know that we're black. And because we know that we're black, and we know that we're against the odds of everyone else, even if we're getting our fades in with each other, if a riot break off, I don't care if it's a blood with another race. I don't care if it's a Kiwi with another race. We all pushing together. We are family. We are unity. You know what I'm saying? And there's a respect level. Now, the prison is way different. And I'm going to let my brother Jay speak on that.
Okay, first and foremost, people must understand that over here on the West Coast, where Blood and Crips started at in Los Angeles County, it was always more Crips than Bloods. I say like it was like 10 Crips to every 3 Bloods. So the Bloods had to earn their respect on these prison yards. There was certain prisons that Bloods couldn't even get off the bus. You get off the bus, you already know they coming. But it was back in the days, like about the early 80s, few of the Bloods got off the bus in Tracy State Prison, and they got cracking, and the Crip got killed. Eventually, long story short, Crips started accepting the Bloods, in all the prisons. Later throughout the years, like I say, it wasn't always like that on these prison yards, because Crips was smashing Bloods every chance they got, because the Bloods. That's why the Bloods had to come together and create these little prison gangs, because we didn't have no numbers at that time. So eventually, there's certain Bloods that establish, the respect from the Crips. So eventually, the Bloods started growing in numbers, and a lot of the older Bloods who became like black Muslims, black militants, and all these things, and some of the Crips that became black militants, black Muslims, and things like that, they start really structuring it to where, look, we got a bigger enemy, and our bigger enemy was the Mexicans. The Southern Mexicans and the Mexican Mafia. And that's basically what helped bring us all together and start realizing that, once you hit these prison yards, it was mainly the maximum security prisons, not more so the lower prisons. They still kind of had the blood crip thing going on, but when you on the maximum security prisons, it wasn't none of that because we had to come together and stick together. And so it was the help with a lot of people back in the days that helped us get this together to form this. So when I came to prison, I was a fresh 18 years old back in 91 when I first hit the yard. I saw some Crips that I got into it with in the county jail. When I ran into one of them, I told my older homies, look, that's one of the dudes. They was like, oh, you can't come up here with that. Hold on, they right there at my door.
This
This
is
is
real
real. This
life
is
right here,
wild,
y'all.
man.
No, he's telling you the truth. You know what I'm saying? And the cold thing about it is that even if he wanted to, even if he was motivated, even if he knew what he's capable of, the reality is that you have to stick to a protocol. You have to answer to somebody. Nobody is bigger than the program. Nobody. I don't care how tough you are. I don't care how much of a beast you are. Nobody is bigger than the program. And you learn to respect the program. Go
Gotta
ahead, bro.
follow rules. Gotta
So
follow rules.
yes, exactly. So once they establish these programs and me trying to come on here thinking I'm about to try to get at this dude, whether I was going to win or lose, it don't matter. By me thinking that I was going to violate whatever they just told me, I would have got smashed up off them yards. And today it still holds after 30 some years, the Bloods and Crips. I mean, there's time we get into it every blue moon, every blue moon. But overall, we're not out there like killing each, stabbing each other. And, you know, sometime, but overall, that's basically non-existent with the Bloods and Crips. Because here's the problem. Here's the thing. If something happened with the Crips, say for instance, a Crip owed me some money for whatever reason, I would go to the Crips we'll go to the Crips like, look, your people owe us some money. They deal with it. So everybody police their own.
Right.
And usually they're going to deal with it.
Right.
And then there's ways we go around things. We tell certain individuals that's in whatever the thing that get them money, their hustles. We tell them, look, do not deal with these particular individuals because these guys don't have no money to pay y'all. So if you still deal with them, you kind of we're going to get your money back in blood. And most dudes don't want their money in blood. They want their money. That's why they doing their hustling. So we tell y'all don't deal with these dudes. There's dudes that'll crash sometime and get us all into it. We jump up and you got the fight, go to, I'm gonna use the word melee, but after that it's over, the dude that got all this stuff is over, oh, he will be smashed up out of here. But the thing is, by we being in this little bitty environment, Bloods and Crips, I'm using Bloods and Crips, and for us to get along the way we get along, it's kind of it kind of like baffling that on the streets in this big environment, they can't get along.
It's so retarded, right? It is so retarded because I'm gonna give you something else. So let's just say right now, myself and Jay is on the tier, and let's just say any other race. We'll say an other. Him and an other is fighting. I'm running over there protecting him.
Right.
If I'm sitting and a white and I get into it, Jay's coming over there to protect me.
Right.
If a Southsider goes over there, no matter what, we're going to protect each other.
Mm-hmm.
There is no key weighing down move in. What it is I'm here, I'm my brother's keeper. You know what I'm saying? And you hit the nail on the head, Jay, and it's crazy, right? Because a lot of us, even in our own fractions, we're probably worse enemies within our own fractions, right? And we're allies here.
Mm-hmm.
We're the same people that's going to make a spread with that individual that killed your homie.
Yeah.
We're the same individual that if he needs anything, you're there for him.
Yeah.
Yet we're the same individual that will sleep right next to him. He'll be on the top bunk, you'll be on the bottom bunk, or vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Mind you,
it's really crazy. Monster Yo, he hit the yard today. He came from work. He hit the yard today. And what was I doing? I got his little homies in a circle.
Right.
What I'm doing?
So he's teaching them. He was schooling them.
I'm schooling his young.
So so what you saying is right now, because I want to be crystal clear in this shit, right? Because it's diabolical how the game is played, right? So what you saying is you're from Watts, a bounty hunter blood, California.
Right.
And you're from Long Beach, California.
Mm-hmm.
Insane, right?
Yes, sir.
And y'all are brothers inside the prison.
We are brothers inside. I'm going to tell you something. So let's go even further. When we walk these yards, Keyways hug him. They love him. When I walk these yards, Damus, they hug me. They love me. Right now, I have a young king who's a Damu. He's from Sacramento. And his grades were low. He was receiving Fs. So I challenged him. I said, if you raise your grade to a C or a B, I'll give you $25. But if you don't raise that grade to a C or a B, you owe me 2588 counts. That's 20 kicks and 20 push-ups 25 times. I said, if you get an A, I double that and you get $50. Do you know he's been in the school working hard to raise that grade? You know what I'm saying? That's what it's about. We are a community in here. And we need to bring this to the streets. You know, the cold thing about it is that we always talk about it, am I my brother's keeper? We only display it when we're in a messed up situation. You know what I'm saying? When we're in these cold conditions. In prison, for some reason, we're like this. But the same individuals who learn this struggle, who experience this struggle, they tend to go out there and become a cancer all over again. That's the part I don't understand. I don't understand that, because here it is again. We're here for each other. We support each other. We're fighting with each other. Don't get me wrong. There's times when Keyways and Damus, we have our melees. There's times life be lifing. Life be life, and we high testosterone. We all cut from the same cloth. Ain't nobody punks. But at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, and we get an understanding, guess what happens? We're all spread together all over again. We all talking about the same females. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know how it is. You know what I'm saying? You know, the brotherly love. So I don't understand why on the East Coast it's something different. I remember somebody came from the East Coast to California. He was from Jersey, Piru. And he was schooling us on how it is out there, you know. And the crazy thing about it is I thought he was on a higher mentality because the science he used to spit, that knowledge of self, that God, that supreme, that, you know, the divine, the supreme mathematics. I thought he was on some other level. So I would think if you know this science, you would be conscious enough not to be on that set trip, because the whole part of the teachings is to bring you into alignment with your humanity and with yourself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I never understood. Well, I still don't understand how the beefing out there is even where it's at when you guys have so much consciousness.
But you know what? You know, what y'all started, the gang culture that y'all started has spread all across America. You know, I was a blood for a lot of years. You know, into my retirement, and we didn't even know. I mean, we didn't even know that y'all were like getting along in certain places, and you know the connections that y'all had, and a lot of us on the East Coast were squabbling and getting into stuff and pushing, and especially in prison. The streets is more so peaceful amongst amongst a lot of these different gangs for the most part. You got, like you said, you got little melees here and there, but prison is nasty. You know what I'm saying? Prison is nasty. But this, I'm glad that y'all brothers, y'all legends, y'all pioneers, elders, are putting this information out there. So maybe this can help a lot of the Keyways and the Damus in all these other cities get this message and understand that these brothers is living in harmony. They working together. They working out together. They taking care of each other. They loving each other. They hugging each other. Everybody, brothers fight. Stuff happens. But y'all still are, bidding together and doing this time together. That's important to know, man.
All they got is them. At the end of the day, all you have is us. At the end of the day, Mikey B, Monster Yo, and Jay in the world that's listening. Official Prison Talk, Hood Love, and everywhere else beyond. At the end of the day, when you look and you see, you realize all you got is us. You know what I'm saying? So they just was able to exemplify that shit. You heard?
You know, I also want to include some. A lot of times people might look at stuff like this, say, "Oh, they just saying that because they're in prison." No, you're not. One thing about people like me and Monsieur, because I'm using our situation over here, because we're the 2 out of us 4 that's still incarcerated. You have to do this every single day to where it becomes your norm. Once it becomes your norm, when you get out, you'll still be on that path. A lot
Right,
of dudes
right,
a
right.
lot of dudes do it just for prison's sake and then get out and forget everything. But because it wasn't something they was doing like consistently. We do this stuff consistently every day. Today, me and him are sentenced to life terms. But we know that we're gonna be out again. But the thing is, before we even thought about getting back out, we started this years ago. Remember, I just did almost a decade in solitary confinement. I think he did about 15 years in solitary
I did
confinement.
17.
17 years in solitary confinement. This started years ago. So this is something that we naturally do now. So when something becomes natural to you, when you get out there, you will continue that. So a lot of times there are people that just do it because they're in prison. But I'm going to tell you, people like me and Monster Yo, we're not doing it because we're in prison. This is our life. We know that this is our life. Me and him were 16-year-old juveniles. I was 16 in 89, 36 years ago. I refuse to get back out there and get caught up. Yes, you may see it was look red or burgundy, whatever, behind me. But that's just a flag that I represent. That flag is political now. That flag ain't about killing each other at all.
Right.
That's a political sign. That's a political statement now. I done politicized this movement. This is not about me. This is about the people. This is about those next juveniles. Hopefully they don't get caught, so they have to experience this. But if they do, they're going to say, oh, he got a red flag. So I caught your attention. Now listen to what I have to say. So go ahead,
Right.
Monster.
No, you tell me.
I want to ask y'all this. After you go, Monster, just go into this. Y'all are obviously strong brothers, strong-willed. I see you heavy into the church. Monster Yo, from our conversation before we came up here, y'all both got 30 years in the system and more. What did it take for you to get there? What are some of the things, the practices? Give us some of the books. Give us the things that made you be the sturdy man that you are today. And the brothers writing books, going to college, doing all the stuff you do. How did you do that from the person that you were? How did you make that transition?
I'm gonna start with Jay first. Let Jay go first on this one.
Well, first and foremost, in 1992, I was at a prison called Calipatria. Calipatria had just opened. It was one of the most dangerous prisons to be at the time. I mean, this is when you really saw the blacks together, because it was the blacks against the police, the Mexicans, the whites. Every time we get through with this ride, we got a whole nother ride coming up. Then after that ride, we got a whole nother race of people to go up. It just stayed on. And then it stayed 100 degrees all year at the prison. It's a prison that's by the Mexican border. When I think it was 92, 93, I think it was 93, I saw the movie called Malcolm X. Prior to me seeing the movie Malcolm X, I was in Old Folsom State Prison. That's when it was a maximum security prison. The older brothers, when I was there, they was older to me. I was 18. They probably was over 25. They was considered old to me back then. They was giving me like Swahili words to learn, books and stuff. And one of the books that I remember was Malcolm X. I'd never read this book. I just had it just sitting in the cell all this time. So maybe a year and a half later, I see the movie. And I told my Sally, man, I've never saw a man ever in my life like that. That that's what made me like, I got to change. I got to start knowing who I am. It was that movie in 1993. And I think the riots had popped off. The LA riots popped off in 93. I don't know if it was before the movie or after the movie when Spike Lee put that movie out. When I saw that movie, I said, I got to change. But I was trying to figure out, how do I change? How do I become so conscious like that, man? One of the brothers said, man, you got to study. I was like, what do you study? I don't even know what to study. One of the first things I realized I had this book way deep somewhere. And I pulled this book out. after I saw that movie. So that's what basically, that was what triggered me to, I have to become a better and a different person, because I've never grown up and seen people like that in my community. So that's where the change started for me back in 1992. But I was still active in the gang lifestyle. But I had to also start realize that I have to, in order for me to be a better person, I have to start loving myself. And in order for me to start loving myself, I got to figure out who I am.
Got to know yourself. You can't love something you don't know.
Yeah,
Right.
that's very important right there, man. I'm actually, to think back on my own lifestyle and how I came up, to see y'all two brothers together, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, damn, it's like the treasure at the end of the rainbow, right? When you go through all the shit you got to go through, the fights, the cuts, the scars, the bruises, and then you come to reality and say, you know what? Damn, this ain't even my enemy no more. Let's work together. Let's get some money. And I think this message that we are sharing on Her Love and Official Prison Talk with you, Marcel, Yo, and Jay Burton, I don't think it could get no bigger than this, because y'all been involved with, the Insanes and the Hunters, not at teenagers, but since elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all been involved with this lifestyle since elementary school, and to see y'all now as grown-ups, exemplify that anybody could change. So I just want to say that I want people to know you can represent what you represent, but you can also evolve and understand that, everybody's not your enemy. Your real enemy is yourself, man. So I thank you myself for that right there, man. I really appreciate y'all, man, because,
Yes, sir.
The vulnerability, you know what I'm saying? Y'all real gangsters. You just told a person you caught a body in prison. You know what I'm saying? You just told you caught a body in prison. So it is what it is. He just said he went to the hole for a police getting stabbed in their face. So this is real serious shit we talk about. So to show the vulnerability and to be I think that's the best way to show these little brothers out here what they can be, man. And unfortunately, y'all in them cages, but we gonna get y'all out of there, man. God willing, man.
Facts. It's happening. I want to say with myself, first off, you're absolutely right, King. The crazy thing about it is that the true enemy is within.
Right.
And it starts with self. Everything starts with that knowledge of self. If you don't have knowledge of self, you're going to fail yourself over and over again. You're going to become a repeated offender of being a failure. You know what I'm saying? And so for myself, what really hit close to home is that I had a little brother who was under me. And he was out there claiming, he was banging and everything. And I definitely didn't want him to. Nobody wants your brother, your little brother, your siblings to be a reflection of you. You did everything so that they don't have to, right? You know what I'm saying? And so here it is. I had this little brother who was out there in the life and, doing everything under the sun. And, my goal was to change him, to deter him from the life that I had been living. But he would always say, how can you tell me something and you still doing it? And that was like the coldest slap in the face, right? And you know what I'm saying? He was a genius, right? He knew how to hit home, right? I ain't mad at the king, And so when I really started reaching him, because he started driving trucks and everything else, and as I was starting to reach him towards the end of my term of solitary confinement of doing that 17 years, when they finally tell me that I'm going to be out of the SHU, as I'm in the transition of going to administrative segregation to hit general population, my little brother passed away. And when he passed away, I realized that I lost something. I lost my reflection. And I told myself that I did not want anybody else's little brother to experience what my little brother had to experience. I did not want to put anybody else through that same thing. So I had to start teaching the next generation. I needed to teach them what I wasn't taught. And so that's what I started doing. I started really getting deep into what's wrong with me. Why do I keep thinking the way that I think? Why do I keep embracing this genetic curse? Why do I keep allowing my emotions to act without the benefit of my intellect? Why am I so reckless?
Mm.
I realized there had to be a change. And again, it goes back to I had to face that enemy within. You know, one of the books, a few of the books that changed my life was by Naeem Akbar, Visions for Black Men. That book right there, it really set the pace for how I was going to live and lead as a king. It told me things that I didn't know about myself. It taught me life lessons because remember, manhood was taught to me through the prison experience. I've been in here since I was 16 years old. So this is all I knew.
Dang.
So when I get this book, Visions for Black Men, it sparks something. Then the next book, As a Man Thinketh, by James Allen. Then the next book, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. That was a critical book right there because that was the cause of all my problems, sweating the small stuff, right?
Yeah.
And one of the biggest books that changed my life when it came to business is Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
One of my favorite books. Rich Dad,
Yes,
Poor
sir.
Dad, y'all. Make sure
Yes,
y'all
sir.
check it out. Phenomenal
Yes,
book.
sir. That book right there set me on a path to starting my first business in prison. And from there, I never looked back.
He got
And
an
I
answer to my
continued to,
favorites over there. Go ahead, keep going, bro.
yes, sir. And I just continue to progress. I continue to progress. After that, you know, success was everything. Oh, and then my strategic book, Thick Face Black Heart. That got me through.
Black Heart.
Yeah, Thick Face Black Heart. Hold on.
I
Hey,
never read that one.
being that y'all are authors yourselves, do you mind showing us the books that y'all wrote yourselves?
Absolutely. Hold on.
Hey,
That's
I
Jay
want
Burton's
you know
book right there, y'all.
I want to pick up on something that Monsieur said. I had got out the shoe for it was they accused me of stabbing the CO 2005. My little brother, he was being influenced by what he is hearing about me in prison. So when people get out there, oh, that's your brother, he in there with. So the thing is, I realized that when my brother was getting this information about me, it was steering him to eventually become my cellmate. So I said, I got to change myself. So when I went out there to the main line, I went up to my homeboys from my neighborhood. I said, look, it was about 3 of my homeboys on the line from my neighborhood. I said, look, man, I need to stop this. I got to stop. Now, I know my homeboys is tripping. So I realized that I have to be careful with how I say it. So when I went back, I said, hold on, so I went back and I went and strapped up. I got me a knife longer than my arm. And I went out there with my knife this time. No, I'm serious as hell because I know they was coming. So the thing is, I said, look, homie, I need to step back from this. It was like, oh, okay, what you got against the Bloods? I said, I don't got nothing against the Bloods. Shit, well, it's. I said, I got more something with the bounty hunters because you know, bounty hunter, the one that told on me, got me up in here than the Bloods in general. He was like, so what you gonna do? I said, man, I'm just gonna step back, man. And when it's on with the Mexicans and whites, you know, I'm there. They was like, so you saying you're not with us no more? One of them kept trying to egg me on because I see he's strapped, I'm strapped. They know I'm strapped, and but the cold thing about this. These were some dudes that I literally grew up on the street with. We was little kids on the streets. And because I wanted to change and I explained to him why I wanted to do this, I said, because, you know, when my brother hears stuff about me, he hears about the things that I consider negative now. I want, when people speak of me, I want them to hear the positive things, right? But the homies eventually said, you know what? Go and do your thing. So I went out and I went to go face all the Bloods on the yard. I'm in the middle of all these Bloods and I'm strapped up. I'm looking for the one that got the biggest mouth. And my thing is, I told him, I said, look, man, I'm cool with this. And the one that's doing all the talking, he said, well, don't let me catch you at another prison and you representing again or whatever, some old shit. And if something happened, you on your own. Man, I pulled that big old ass knife out on that boy. Yeah, because it was about to go there. But the thing is, people know me for all these years. One thing about a reputation is good to have a good reputation in prison. Because that good reputation as a stand-up person, that you not file or anything, that can save you through a lot of stuff. So long story short is that I realized that it was more safer for me to straddle the gate, because a lot of times, a lot of my young homies, even some of my older homies that's older than me, they get caught up in stuff and they don't know how to get themselves out. So what they're gonna do when people see me on the yard, they're not gonna distinguish me. Oh, that's Jay. He ain't tripping no more. They coming to knock me down too. So I realized that I had to put myself in leadership position to basically make sure that I make it back home, that people around me make it back home as well. So that's why I still straddle the gate. I realize that it's not going to be over for me until I get up out of here. I'm talking about fully over with, because at the end of the day, I had to be more realistic with myself. So I'm glad Monsieur has said something about his brother, because I had forgot about that story, that because I was talking about that when I started transitioning my mindset was when I watched the movie Malcolm X back in '93. But the time that I decided that, look, I need to step back. But because of who I am, I can't just step back. I mean, I can't use the word I can't, but I'm not going to step back until this is over with, because I can easily become a victim because of some knucklehead who don't know how to run a line right. So
And I love that he said that, because and that is so true. One thing about Jay Burton and I is that first off, free Jay Burton, straight up.
Free
But
Marcio.
but appreciate you. But one thing about Jay Burton and I is that the worst thing they could have did was put both of us on the same yard. You know, because we're not going to jeopardize our life for an individual who's a drugged out thug, or some individual that's just as reckless as we used to be. We're conscious mind and we know how to speak for ourselves. It's not about me being just big and know how to fight. The reality is this is that
hell, though.
He a big old motherfucker. He's a big motherfucker. He's a big.
I appreciate it, but what it is though is this: it's about we care about our people. I will be willing to die in order to save our people, especially from unnecessary things. Not many people are willing to be that committed. Jay Burton would be willing to die.
Thanks.
To make sure we secure what is right. Mm-hmm. I stand on what's right. If somebody tells me, hey, let's go to war for this, wait, hold up. So my blood, my sweat, and my tears are going to be a part of this. My family is going to have to pay the cost, because when I'm in that hole, they're going to have to take care of me in that hole.
Right.
Your family and all these brothers, and you want us to be reckless enough to get into this and not think about nobody but yourself because a dude owe you a couple of dollars that you shouldn't even gave him on GP? No. And nobody's eating from you?
Right.
Get the hell out of here.
No, right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I will speak up because I care about my people. Right. And when you speak up and when you care, people know this, and then other people will start speaking up. Like, hold up, that does make sense. What are we gonna do? For real? And Jay would do the same.
Yeah, I remember I'm really one of my young homies, and Marcio walked up on this drug addict. Hey, I was so high. I said, let's talk to this. Remember on the yard?
I remember.
Talk to this fool. Mm-hmm. I had that. The crazy thing is, people, for me to ask a key way to talk to one of the Damus, because he get me hot. Because they seem to like. I mean, one thing about leadership, you got that. One thing I learned about effective leadership, you have to have a lot of tolerance, because you're dealing with a whole bunch of different personalities. And if you have tolerance, it's easy for you to resolve a lot of things. But if you don't have tolerance, it's going to be a lot of bloodshed, because I have zero tolerance, and I'm going to knock you down. And then I'm going to get oh, you just did something. I'm going to knock you down. Oh, but when you got tolerance, sometimes you can work with it. That's why I'm like, at that moment, I was losing my patience with this youngster. And I just told myself, man, could you holler at this dude, man? And I started talking to him. But the thing is, these are the things that we do. And I tell people all the time, in order for you to change, don't wait for you to get out to change. You got to start right now. Because everybody like, oh, I'm going to wait till I get out and I'm going to start smoking dope. No, you got to stop smoking. Go ahead, Mikey B. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
No, you're right. Go ahead. No, I was just
confirming what you're saying. Now. Anything that you want to do, anytime you want to succeed in life, to better yourself, you got to start now. Right here. Use these 4 walls as your college, as your temple, or whatever it is.
Your dorm rooms.
Utilize this time. Me and Monster was sentenced to life in prison, but we never let that time. Well, I ain't gonna use the word never, because there was a time that I just wanted to off it. But you know, I had to get past that stage. But the thing is, we're still here. We're accomplished authors. We're motivational speakers. We're a little bit of everything. We out there on these yards.
Y'all be great speakers, man.
Right.
I appreciate
it. We are on these
appreciate
yards.
it.
Monster walked up on me talking to 2 of his little homies.
And you a Crip and he's a Blood. I just want to emphasize that.
Just to emphasize what y'all doing, like I went to a Robert Brooks, R.I.P. Robert Brooks protest in Albany.
Big shouts to Moshe. Big shouts to all y'all.
A lot of the guys, like, you know, Moshe, a lot of the guys that were gangsters that were in prison, I seen like 30 guys up there, you know, that were like the hardcore guys. These guys are like legendary street, you know, killers and gangbangers, and they were all up there. Free Robert Brooks, free Robert Brooks. So it was a new look for us. We need y'all soldiers out here with us. You know what I'm saying? To do this work. We gonna work for y'all. We're gonna work to get y'all out. We're gonna work. That's a lot of the work that I'm doing out here in the community. I work with I'm a reentry case manager, and I help people get jobs, and I do advocating and resumes and all that kind of stuff too. Besides owning my own companies and doing my my book companies and stuff like that as well. But I just wanted to move it a little bit. Tell us about the food y'all eat. Can y'all get packages? Can your family bring food? How was y'all visits, man? Give us a little bit of y'all culture, y'all life. Like, how was it?
So I'm smiling because everybody know I'm the chef.
Oh, so I was the chef.
Yeah, so you know, so I'm gonna say this. I don't eat like everybody else eat, right? The food is trash, but we can get canteen. And so first off, I'm gonna let y'all know I'm addicted to Doritos.
Yeah.
Everybody know I don't use drugs, I don't drink, but I'm addicted to Doritos. That's my wife. I love my baby mama. I never let her go. All that stuff, right? And so, you know, I'm serious in a heart attack.
Which flavor?
Listen, it's all of them. I want to try sriracha. It's a new bag out there, and I want to try that Doritos taco. I ain't had that yet, but I've had Doritos.
Hey, Monster, watch this, baby. What kind of chips do I eat? Doritos. You heard that? King's of spirits, King.
Well, check this out, bro. Me and my wife has an open relationship. So when she mad at me, she go out to the different folks. You know what I'm saying? No, but on some real stuff though, right? On some real stuff.
Content. He makes Dorito content.
I'm serious.
On his thing about Doritos.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, literally.
Listen, I got my own shoe.
Monster big on the social media. He got a lot of hip hop artists. A lot of people support Monster out there in California, man.
Real talk. And worldwide, from California to Atlanta to New York, all that. Definitely but worldwide. I got my own shoe called Monsterito. So I got 3 pairs of shoes. One is the Monster Yo shoe. It's more of a Raiders brand / military. I have my ladies line shoe called Monstra. That's a little female gorilla. And then I have Monsteritos. Monsteritos has the Dorito influence emblems, and it's nice. It's very nice.
Your own shoe?
I got my own shoe.
Wow, you gotta let me check. I didn't even know all of this, man.
Yes, Lord.
Out, man. He gotta put me
yes,
on.
Lord.
Show
yes,
your
Lord.
Books, Monster Yo.
Oh, it's coming. They already in my lap. So this is one of my books called Mental Martial Arts: The Path to Inner Strength and Clarity.
On Amazon?
I wrote this. Yeah, it's on Amazon. All my books is on Amazon. So you can type in Ladaro Monster Yo Penix or Ladaro Penix. LADARO PENNIX. And yes, I'm related to both Trent Penix and Michael Penix in the NFL.
Yeah.
Okay. So
LADARO PENNIX.
Yes, sir.
One word?
Well, no. 2 words. Ladaro and then Penix.
Like the Atlanta quarterback Penix.
Exactly.
I see it in a freedom. I see you.
There you go. So this is mental martial arts, the path to inner strength and clarity. This book right here, when I wrote this, I started dwelling on just the life that I've lived in here and how I had to navigate and go through so many psychological readjustments. My family, it's a martial arts family. And so we have a legacy, and I'm a legacy in that martial arts family. And so, I utilized and applied a lot of my knowledge in martial arts to deal with a lot of situations. One of my favorite concepts is judo, because judo is utilizing your opponent's momentum against himself. So as they swing, you grab that arm and knock him off his feet and guide him off his feet. And so it's the same as every situation. You have to learn how to adapt to every situation in order for whatever negative in energy or whatever trauma to not affect you in a way that could actually cripple you. So this also um, inspires emotional intelligence. Teaching you emotional intelligence so that you can navigate in life just in general. So that's mental martial arts. My other book is You Are One of One. This is just about understanding self.
I'll put the first
Appreciate.
book. The first book is right there in the chat.
Okay.
Support Monster Yo, support his book. That's the first book is in the chat. Come on.
Okay. This other one is You Are One of One. This is by myself and Tanika Twix Mix Allen. We co-wrote this book. We co-wrote this book because we wanted to just give people um, um, appreciation of self. A lot of people in this world are so depressed and they don't understand themselves, and they're falling short of themselves because they think they're accepting um, life's BS. You know, it's social construct to define who they are. Well, we're showing them how special and unique they are, and how to appreciate themselves through through this book right here.
And that's called. And that's the name of that is what?
You Are One of One. This book right here, this is a very special book that's near and dear to me, very close to me. It's called The Magic of Celebrating Autism Through Articulate Expression by myself and Renee Penix Alexander.
I seen that.
So, yes, sir. So before I tell you about this book, let me tell you about the background. So I have family members who suffer from autism, who I very much so care about. But I'm also the ambassador of Leo Lion Club Foundation, which targets autism. And my family, Renee Penix Alexander, she is the founder of Leo Lion Club Foundation. So we decided to come up with this to give light to autism, but not just that, celebrate it. So every story in here is about someone who has autism, whether it's an animal, whether it's a human, whether it's a made, any type of made up character, who starts off with autism and starts off as the underdog and comes out the hero. And so I love this right here. We even have puzzles in here and everything else so kids can play with in the end.
That sounds very engaging. That sounds extremely engaging. Peace, love, Maya. Peace and love, Maya G. That's our sister right there.
Peace, Queen.
That sounds very, very engaging. I think people will find that very gratifying because there's people who have autism in society, and to write a book about it coming from your perspective, I think people will be able to take that in.
Absolutely.
So big shout out to you for that.
Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate you, King. This other book is.
Oh wow, you got another one.
Oh no, I got 15 books. Y'all gonna have to wait for a moment. And I don't even have all my 15 books here, but I got another one. This other book is called The Foundational Steps of Divine Wisdom and Purpose. This is more of a spiritual book by myself and Colin Randolph. Colin Randolph has also been incarcerated for some time, and him and I have known each other since we were kids. We started off as two thugs and being our worst selves to growing into men and changing the way we think and our perspective and changing lives. And we wanted to just bring, spirituality into people's lives and show them that God does work. You know what I'm saying? Whether you believe in God, Allah, Buddha, we wanted to show you that spirituality is a foundational tool that needs to be implemented in your life. And so that's what this book is all about. So
you ain't reached that time in there. That's what I like to see right
oh,
there.
I definitely didn't. So this book, there's two of these books. One is called Comprensión Divina in Espanol. That's what this one is. And then the English version is Divine Comprehension. Divine Comprehension, I wrote this book because I just wanted to be able to give people clarity of their potential. Just wake them up. You know, it's something about that poised disposition that changes things, right? That sets you on that right course. And I just wanted to just bring people into clarity. This book is called Love Towards Seductive. This book is about a female serial killer who has an alter ego. And her alter ego is a dude that's in love with her. So anytime she gives her heart to somebody or anytime someone hurts her, her alter ego comes out and sets him on fire.
Wow.
Love Towards Seductive.
Wow.
Yes, sir. Hold on. This book, this is one of my children's books. It's called Sugar for My Granny, Granny's Helper. And so I have a collection of these where my grandmother and I, we have this saying, sugar for my granny or sugar for the granny. And I always say too sweet for the mama. And so, you know, we wanted to make sure we left a memorable chapter in our lives. So we started creating these books right here. And so it goes on and on. I ain't gonna lie.
No, that's a beautiful thing, bro.
We got to come up here one day and just talk about our books.
Yeah, facts, right?
We got to get all the authors up here, and we got to have an author show. You know,
Real talk.
We got is that Huncho Braves right there?
Yeah, and head honchos down here.
Yeah, that's my little bro right there. That's
Okay.
Head honcho. He's
Peace to the king.
That's one of the little brims. That's one of my little young ones that you know, he been rocking with me all these years. He on his way home, and I wanted to bring him to the panel because, you know, he actually caught a body, and he one of the fortunate ones that got a manslaughter for it, and he's going to eventually go get back to the streets. So every day he's with me, and I'm just trying to sharpen him up so when he get out there, you know, he had the right tools to get out there and start building, you know, his legacy as he moved forth in life. You want to introduce yourself? Where you go? Oh, it's left. Now, let me go to my things. This right here was a book. This book right here, The Life and Times of L.A. Blood. This is by Jay Burton. Y'all can go look that up on Amazon. This book was basically, it talks about my life free prison. I wanted to write something about my life story, but I wanted to hurry up put something out there about how I was on the streets prior to me coming to prison. So this is basically about how I came up in Watts, California. How it was difficult when I came up as being a blood. Like it seemed like I was always the only blood in the unit in the juvenile hall. So I had to fight everything up in there. But you know, that's part of this gang life. And you young dudes, y'all think it's a game. It's not a game. This shit is like some real stuff. It's sad what this gang life has went to, because I think we didn't have no book, so to speak, like a book of rules, a structure set up when you think about when the Crips first started. You had two teenagers that started the Crips. They was teenagers. Right. People don't think back and realize that these men were teenagers.
Right.
It was right after the Panthers. The things with the Panthers got shut down. You know, you had Raymond Washington, Tookie Williams, and you know, people that was around it when they started the Crips, right? It wasn't no rule book set, and this is how we're going to live. This is how we're going to do these things. So the thing is, as these things start growing, I think it was when people were going to prison, coming back, start putting more structure to it. But it was kind of like getting messed up as the early 80s hit in the crack era. That kind of like turned things around to where there was really no structure in this stuff no more. The structure that was supposed to be built around it kind of lost its way. So I wanted to write about my life and my experience coming up as a blood in LA, and how hard it was, how difficult it was, and how you had to really represent yours. If you didn't, you was gonna be, you know, busted out, whatever it may be. You wasn't gonna make it. So that was one of the books. Here's another book that I wrote when I was in.
What's the name of that book?
Oh, this one right here is called The Life and Times of an L.A. Blood by Jay Burton. This is on Amazon. I wrote this book right here, Raw Deals. This is a book based on principles. Deals is an actual acronym. I reached out to Monster Yo prior to me coming to this prison, and I asked him would he want to participate in putting some up in here, because it was because of him, Monster Yo, when we was in solitary confinement some years ago back, and he showed me his book. I said, man, look, last time I saw you, man, you just don't know that how you influenced me to actually start putting my stuff into book form. So I want you to put some up in this book that I'm about to release. So he put some up in here. So his book is in there as well. I mean, he got some writings as well in his book, Raw Deals. Raw Deals, like I said, the D is based on discipline. I had to talk about being disciplined. How is it that I was able to make it this far in prison? Because it takes a form of discipline to actually make it on these prison yards. That's why a lot of us, you go to these yards, the yards that we on Supermax. Almost every day somebody's out there getting their butt kicked, about 3 or 4 dudes, because they lack discipline. So I talk about discipline. I talk about empowerment. I talk about accountability, which is the L. I mean the A. And the L, I talk about leadership. I talk about the S, which is selflessness. These are the things I talk about in this. How I made it through prison, and you can use this same book on the streets. Raw Deals by Jay Burton on Amazon. You can use this same book on the streets that I put together from prison, because everybody is in some form of prison.
Right.
A lot of us really don't realize that we in prison. We think we're free. I'm more freer than most people on the street, because remember, it starts in the mind.
That's the name of my first book. I wrote this in prison. It's called I'm Free.
I'm free.
The first book I wrote.
Hello.
The first book I wrote was called I'm Free, and I was in prison.
That's it.
I still have like
Joseph, you got
years
anything you want to pull out?
right?
You want me to pull one of your? I got one of your books right here, Joseph. You want me to pull one out? Joseph, we can't even hear you.
I said, get it, pull it out. Why not?
This one, your other book, your prison book. I don't have that when somebody reading it. But this is your second book, Joseph.
Yeah.
You want to talk about your success?
Yo, listen,
that book right there. That's called From the Cage to the Stage, The Blueprint to Success. I talk about my 5 basic principles: communication, self-motivation, leadership, fortitude, and the execution. Right? Those 5 basic principles will change anybody's life if they really take in consideration how important communication is, how important leadership is, how important mental fortitude is, how important to execute the things that you intend to do. But you must be self-motivated at the end of the day. So that book is basically about that, breaking it down for people coming from prison, as well as people that's in prison on the streets, right? Like drug addictions, financial instability, people that might want to give up. I try to give them some type of inspiration and show them, no, I did 22 years and I was able to, come home with a right mindset and make my life count despite my circumstances. So that's what that book is about. And I hope people get that, not just the book, but the concept. You could go from the cage to the stage. This is the stage. The world is your stage. So, thank you, Mikey B.
This is
for
I
this.
see it. I see him right there, Joey P. Let me put that link.
So
what's the name of that? From the stage to what is it?
That book right there is called. That's my second book. My first book is called From the Sandbox to the Cell Block. That book right there is called From the Cage to the Stage. The Blueprint to Success. For anybody that's coming out of a cage, looking forward to being on the stage, whether it's a new job, whether it's a new shine, whether it's a new car, whether it's a new opportunity. The world is our stage, so don't be afraid to stand on it, and that's what that's about.
So I have a shameless plug I have to do. I ain't gonna even lie.
No, do that's what you're here for, bro. Do your thing, because you done educated so many people. You got
I appreciate it. This is my brother, Jesse Day Swindle. And this is one of his books. The Hunger for More. Never Cry Wolf 2. His books, his series of books of Black vampires in werewolves is vicious. He actually has me as one of the characters. You gotta read this book because I'm in there tearing shit up. Man, I love this book. The transition is on point. The storyline is on point, and we're doing amazing things. And so, please go get this book by Jesse Day Swindle. The Hunger for More. Never Cry Wolf 2.
Right. That's right. That's what I'm talking
Yes,
about.
sir.
Hey, you
No,
see what
these are not
education
shameless
does?
plugs.
You see what happens when they put us in these prisons and shit? Like,
Yo, we
this is what
all
happens.
we all from urban enclaves,
Absolutely.
America. We all served well over 20 years. I almost served 30. We all served well over 20 years.
Yeah.
We all authors. You know, we all have our faculties. God is good. You know what I'm saying? The Most High is good. We still got our faculties, all that we've been through. This is a testimony in itself right here for us to be here and for us to be talking about the books that we wrote, you know, the struggles that we have overcome, like the fights that y'all had to fight in your own minds against your own self to be the men that y'all are today, to be the men that you will be when y'all come back to the community. That's all a testament to the Most High. You know what I mean?
Right, for real.
Definitely. Definitely. I want to share with these youngsters something real quick. What you doing out there is stupid. And it's straight up. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it or nothing, man. I've been in here since I was 16 years old. What I did out there, I thought I was being the man. I thought I was being tough. I thought I was being a joint on every level. But the reality is that when you lose your life to this, whether in a coffin or in prison, what happens is that you start to get a rude awakening. Everything that you believed was your enemy is not your enemy. You start to discover that you were your own worst enemy,
Right.
that you believed the delusion. So now, all of a sudden, you start to snap out from that delusion. Because remember, at one time, your delusion was your reality, and your reality was your delusion. And when you wake up out of that delusion, what happens is it's kind of like taking that pill from the Matrix. You wake up to something that breaks your heart because then you start realizing that your life was meant for so much more.
Dang.
And you gave it away for what? This? Sharing showers with men?
Right.
Sharing bunks with men? A man is supposed to share a bed with a woman where you wake up and you smell her scent. You feel her softness. Not some man on the top bunk farting, stinking, burping.
Damn.
Real talk though, it's
Right.
not fun.
It's not.
I'm gonna tell y'all this. I ain't had coochie since I was 16 years old.
Dang.
Since I was 16 years old.
And how old are you now?
Because I'm 46. I'll be 47 next month.
Mm.
My whole mentality was I'm representing. I don't give a what you mean I don't give a fuck. What's wrong with you? My mental was so warped out. I wasn't even thinking about coochie, thinking about representing, thinking about being down, thinking about being there for my homies. Majority of your homies is not gonna be there. Who's gonna be there is your mama, your family. That's who's gonna be there. And when you go back and look at your life, and yeah, your homie sent you a few pictures. Yeah, every now and then they shot you a few dollars, but that made you feel good. Your mama and your family taking care of you every day, package upon package, lie after lie, just to get money from them. You need to change that mentality.
Dang.
You need to love yourself and love your family enough to stop doing this shit out here. On everything. I've lived this for you. I've lived the pain for you. Don't live the same pain that I lived. I made the mistakes for you. We have all made the mistakes for you. And we've showed you the audacity of hope. We've showed you the audacity of change. Take your fucking life back. Straight up. Take your life back because it's yours.
Right. That's right.
Salute.
Thank you for
Salute.
that one, man. I felt that. That
Appreciate
shit
you,
my
bro.
boots, man. And I
Salute.
hope you little niggas out there, because I got to use this terminology right now, because we're going to be live and direct. I hope you little niggas just heard what he just said. He said he ain't had no coochie since he was 16 years old. He's 46. And he thought it was all about representing. And so he sat up and one day and woke up in his prison after he realized what the fuck was going on. And he said, damn.
That's how it is. You wake up.
Damn, what the fuck has happened?
That's exactly how it is.
Oh God.
And you buried alive. You wake up and you buried alive. Like how the fuck did I do?
Right.
You wake up and I got a poem like that. You wake up when you get your faculties and you get your mind after being a kid, and them years start passing by, and them holidays start passing by, and people start dying in your family, and your friends stop writing you and calling you, and you start educating yourself and realizing what's going on. You like, damn, I'm buried alive. How the hell am I gonna get out of here? How am I gonna get out there?
And we ain't had his voice back when we came in.
Fights and squabbles that you had, they ain't nothing because now you got to fight for your life for real.
For real. That's crazy because my next biography is actually called God's Son Buried Alive. I am buried alive. I am alive under a rubble. And sometimes most people cannot hear me. When I holler, scream, y'all can't hear me outside. So I have to give it up to everybody that's been in them chats. Salute to y'all. Y'all keep sharing this, man, because this is a very important moment. This is actually history in the making. You never know where this may go 10, 15 years down the line. You never know what youth is going to be affected by when they see this. When I mean affected, I mean affected in a way that he's going to change his life. That's what we're here for, to change the narrative of this gang lifestyle. I'm not saying you don't have to be from your hood. Be from your hood, but let's change the game. Let's start making this shit work for us, not against us. When I went to trial, they said, look, this is what bounty hunters do. They kill Crips. Convict him. That's so what I mean by make it work for us. They need to say, this is what insanes do. They take care of their community.
Right.
That's how you make it work for you.
That's right.
You want them to say they take care of their community, not that they kill other black men and black kids and everybody else who get caught in a splash of fire. We got to change the narrative of this shit, man, so this shit can start working for us. I used to be real big in the mob stories. You know, it's real big on the East Coast. And what they started doing, they started saying, look, there's no such thing as no mafia. Them motherfuckers went corporate with their shit because they figured it out. They started making that stuff work for them now. We got to figure out how we make this shit work for us.
That's right.
Thank you for that, man. Thank you.
Let me tell you something. Like you already said, like Joey said earlier, you already started doing the work. We all started taking the steps. I see it out here in the community for the most part. I see these guys working. I see these guys that was gangsters, that was holding these lines, that's repping these colors, that's repping these sets and repping these neighborhoods. I see them at the senator's office. I see him at the mayor's office. Free Robert Brown. Excuse me, R.I.P. Robert Brooks. Yeah. Right?
Rest in peace, Robert Brooks. You already know.
So we out here, they already lit the fire. It's already lit. We just got to carry the torch across the finish line. It's already lit. The torch is already lit. We just got to carry it across the finish line. It's already lit. We already working. You know, our stories are somewhat the same. You know, I mean, you could take me and put me in your cell, and you know, I committed murders. The same stuff. We got the same stories. You see what I'm saying? We got the same stories. Different judges, different cities,
different slang,
same gangs,
different slang, same gangs,
same gangs, same colors. You know, so we already the torch is already lit. We just got to get it past the finish line. We just got to all be in sync. We got to all unite from East Coast to West Coast, right? Because like Monster Yo said so eloquently early, we all did a disservice to our people and to our communities when we pushed these lines and we had these kids following us and the stuff that we did in our communities. So it's up to us, it's our burden to correct that. It's our burden.
Thanks.
Right. That's our burden.
I do want to say to people out there, make sure y'all subscribe to Official Prison Talk, y'all.
Yeah, let me
Subscribe to our
let me salute my little homegirl Jessica.
Yeah.
I see you, Jessica. We gonna get you up here too. That's the little homegirl. She tapped in. I see my girl Maya. I see quite a few of y'all on there. I even see Tasha. I see y'all on there. So the thing is, y'all make sure y'all subscribe to that official Prison Talk YouTube as well. We gonna keep doing this. We gonna keep building because the thing is, like I always say, I'm gonna speak on I right now. It's not about me no more. It's about correcting the youth, because when I pass this torch, I'm going to make sure, Mikey B, I want you said about torch. I want to make sure that when I pass the torch, it's a torch that's lit, because people been passing the torch, but it hasn't been lit. So if you don't have no flame on this torch, guess what? They still in the dark. You just pass the torch, but they still in the dark. I'm going to make sure that my torch is lit when I pass it.
Yo, you see that right there? We got some news. Yo, go look at Cosmology Bay. Upstate New York corrections officer was charged with murder, gang assault, and manslaughter in a grand jury indictment on Thursday in the case of R.I.P. Robert Brooks.
Rest in peace, Robert Brooks. Condolences to his family. This fight is a West Coast fight, an East Coast fight, a Midwest fight. It's all our fight.
Right, right.
You know, and you'll get y'all, the ones who don't get it now. Hopefully, you don't have to get it later, right?
Man, we rioted in Queens for Rodney King, you heard?
I remember that. It was rioting everywhere in Brooklyn.
Listen, I was in LA. I was in Long Beach rioting. You know what I'm saying? I was in it. I got arrested. I got arrested in the riots. You know what I'm saying? So,
hey,
you know,
look,
I had my
brothers.
Yeah.
Sorry, day room right now. It's my time to wrap this up.
Yeah, we about to wrap it up. We're gonna tap in again. We're gonna need big shouts.
Peace and blessings.
Thank you.
I gotta get
Marcio, thank you, bro, for coming.
Man, always, King.
With us. All love.
Always.
Y'all
and one love, bro.
Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings.
Monster, yo, we gotta do this more often.
Absolutely.
Media information from the brothers.
Okay.
Grab a couple of your books and promote them.
Likewise, make sure you send me your book links in my DM on IG.
I'm gonna send it to you when we get off of here, big homie.
Please do. As a matter of fact, this is what I want you to do. I want you to also send me your book link so I can have y'all books as well. We're gonna support each other. This is how it's all about that collective work and responsibility, that cooperative economics. This is how we build that unity. You know what I'm saying? And show the world that we're taking the initiative and we're not just talking about it. You know what I'm saying? So yes, Lord.
Peace and love, man.
Yes, sir. Peace and love.
You, King. Any last words before you go? You can put your social media, whatever you want up here. Let the people know how they can contact you, how they can support you. Let the people know.
You can contact me on IG on monster_yo. You can also contact me on Skrilla Gorilla West or Monster Yo Music ENT. You can contact me on social media on Facebook on Monster Yo or Ladaro Monster Yo Penix. You can contact me on Twitter on Monster Yo 3. On what's the other one? TikTok on Monster Yo 3. I'm everywhere. You can find my music under Monster Yo. I got Monster Yo Official and just Monster Yo. Just Monster Yo. You'll see it all, man. Just go look me up on Google.
Monster Yo in is a brand.
It's over.
I just followed you. You got a link
sir.
You got a link tree in there?
I got a link tree in there and everything. Go to my link tree up in there.
On your social media, Monster.
Yes, sir.
Monster_yo. Y'all see how his name is spelled? Monster_yo. I just followed you, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, bro. Go ahead, Joey.
Now I'm just, you know what I'm saying? I'm in the building. Big shout outs to Brooklyn, Brownsville in the building. Big shout outs to Queens. Big shout outs to New York, period. You heard? Big shout outs to California. I'm a frequent flyer in California. I got mad love for Cali. They embrace us in New York. It's like we need to embrace them and understand the cultural differences. It's no difference. It's all the same shit. Either you're a nigga in the Benz or you're a nigga on the street. Either or you're just a nigga to the people, right? So we got to understand that unity and solidarity is very vital when we are exchanging information. Information is the most important thing when it comes to our survival in life, right? Because there's things that you didn't know about California prisons that a lot of us didn't know that could probably spark a revolution over here in the East Coast or Arkansas or there or wherever, just having that seed planted that we are the same at the end of the day, I think was a beautiful thing. But I do want people to tap in to Official Prison Talk. I gotta give a shout out to my co-host, Damn Homie. Big shout outs to Damn Homie. She's in the building, definitely in the building, making power moves. She's gonna be on Official Prison Talk a lot. So make sure you guys, subscribe to our channel. I want to give a big shout out to my brother Jay Brton. Unfortunately, he's God's son buried alive, and he's still maintaining. I want to give a big shout out to Monster Yo for all the things that you've been doing, being able to expand your mind outside that little box, thinking outside the box and removing that box from your whole vision, right? So you're free right now, right? You're free, you know what I'm saying? So not only are you free in that box, but your words has freed a lot of people today because it really touched me, So I definitely want to salute you. Mikey B, Hood Love, big shout outs to Moshe, that's my dog, my brother. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people that is affecting change out here, Mikey B. And as long as we continue to do this, man, I think that we'll give a contribution to the world of, trying to help a little couple of these homies go to, prison or even dying for no apparent reason, for the most part, right? So that's about it with me, you heard?
How could they contact you on social media?
Yo, I'm on. We have Official Prison Talk YouTube, Official Prison Talk. We have that on YouTube as well as Instagram. We have an Official Prison Talk Instagram. Me personally, individually, my name is Joseph P. Langdon. I go by my real name. I'm not hiding from nobody. Joseph P. Langdon. So that's my Instagram, my TikTok. And at this present moment, I do a lot of motivational speaking and things like that. We're just trying to change, like I said, Mikey B, from the East Coast to the West Coast and everything in between, man. So y'all can reach me, like I said, Official Prison Talk is more important right now to what I'm doing, because I know as long as we have a collective voice from these different places, people who retired, people who are still in these situations, and the people who could show an example of what they would look like when they come out, like Monster Yo's, and Jay Burton's. We are the examples of what they would look like, and they are examples of what we don't want to be, right? So we helping each other, right? So just know and understand, man, that's all these platforms is for in terms of me,
Right. Y'all already know I'm Mr. Hood Love Mikey B. Y'all can hit me up on Instagram at Mikey B the author, Facebook Mikey B the author. I think TikTok and Twitter might be Mikey B is free. But that will be Mikey B the author as well, because I try to streamline everything. And you know what we doing, man. We rocking and rolling, man. This was a great one, fellas. I can't wait till we do it again. Next time we got to do it strictly for our writing, how we started writing our books. We got to do a show on that, the next time. You know what I'm saying?
You already
Absolutely.
know.
Absolutely.
Peace and love.
Y'all have a great night.
From the east side to the west side, you hear me? You know, all the way back.
Reed Nation, that's right. East side to the west side, west coast to the east coast. We here, y'all.
Yes, Lord.
All right.